Hi, my name is Dave, and I specialize in communication strategy and trends. So the biggest trend that I've seen coming for the next 3 to 5 years, the one that I think is going to impact my life the most and probably all of our lives, is the Internet of Things. So we're experiencing this every time we've ever called an Uber. That's a mobile phone that's currently sitting in a car that's being driven around by a human. But take that a step forward. What about when it's no longer a human driving the car and the internet itself is receiving instructions from the phone, and we are now using an internet-connected device to move us around? So the Internet of Things started in the most obvious place. You know, when you had a laptop with an internet connection, that was a thing with the internet, and it moved into our mobile phones and our smart watches and our smart TVs and our fitness trackers. And now we're starting to see the internet pop up in more and more surprising places. You know, smart homes, smart buildings, that do really useful things. Like when the air conditioner goes out, you don't have to notice that as a human. The system connected internet will just ping the system administrator and say, hey, check this out on the 3rd floor. So when the internet's connected in 3 major fields, so communications, which is when we don't have to manually keep on instructing the machines to do things. Like when we can in communications trust machines to just get on with stuff. So call me a cab, manage the bookings on my online property like with Airbnb, or tell me what the weather is every day. That machine-to-machine communication is revolutionary, and so this is the next step. So in the communications field, automation and artificial intelligence, game changer, because it means that we can start communicating to objects, and objects suddenly get a voice, because when artificial intelligence is embedded in it, we might ask our car how it's feeling this morning, or you ask your watch, how am I doing, and the object expected to have a voice. So the interface changes, we no longer need screens. Second big change is obviously in transport, because when the internet's embedded in ships, in planes, in trains, and everything that those carriers are carrying have chips embedded in them, that's a game changer, because our whole economy is built on transport. So when those objects can be individually tracked and then managed by the aforesaid smart systems that are run by an artificial intelligence system, suddenly everything starts happening as a whole. So instead of individual human drivers mapping their individual routes and trying to navigate around it, you'll have a central intelligence that can essentially orchestrate these flows. So if there's a big traffic accident, maybe it decides to postpone a flight so that more people can get onto it, and maybe it'll let people know if there's going to be meetings on the other side. So we don't know what this is going to happen, but just those 2 things are going to be a game changer. Then you connect our energy systems to the internet, which we're already seeing in countries like Germany and Italy, and things start getting really spooky, because at Princeton University, for example, already there's see-through windows, glass, that can generate power. Now, that doesn't make sense if it's not connected to an energy grid, because a window can't generate enough power for a whole city block. But when every window in the city is generating a little bit of power, and we connect that to an internet system that is essentially tracking how much energy is being generated and distributing that with the AI system, suddenly we have a transport network that can be powered by electricity, with cars moving around at essentially no cost because everything's being generated, and all of these objects that we can essentially instruct. So we can say, I want more washing powder, get me my favorite brand, or and pick that up for me and get it delivered. Or we can start outsourcing a lot of these equations and a lot of these questions to the internet. So this might seem far out, but companies are already working on this, and a lot of what I've described is already in practice in different parts of the world. And the time to start preparing for this, if you want to make the most of this opportunity, is not in 3 to 5 years when it's mainstream. It's now. We need to develop the skills. So the one thing that I think is easiest to grasp around how IoT is going to affect our lives is that the whole world is going to become a lot more personalized for us. Already, if you think about the questions that you ask Google, you probably wouldn't want everyone to look at your Google search results, because they're incredibly intimate. Now think about the kinds of questions you ask Google. You might ask Google for information or access or entertainment. Increasingly, you can start asking search engines like Google, but there's also going to be vertical searches to make decisions for you. what to buy, where to be, who to connect with. And because it's not going to be driven by screen interfaces, you as a consumer or as a user are increasingly going to trust these algorithms. And you might be going, no, not me. I would never trust an algorithm to make decisions around where to go and where to hang out with and where to be. But already we do this with GPS. We say, take me there, and you trust the machine to make these decisions. So to start preparing for this in every industry, the shift is towards greater customization. So as we move, the two forces of commoditization, which make things more freely accessible, and the alternative force, which pushes pricing up constantly and keeps the market active, is personalization. Start gathering customer data, start learning about them intensively. So start trying to develop as far as possible as one-on-one solutions. And absolutely at the end of the day, it's about understanding their needs, predicting and anticipating their needs, and making sure that you can build some kinds of automated systems to become more efficient at serving their needs. In order to adapt to this world of IoT, we need to move towards personalization, and personalization is driven by automation at scale. The automation at scale requires that we as a business are feeding in clean data into the systems. So these systems are essentially kind of robotic librarians. So they don't have human understanding. We're telling them what our business is about and how we meet human needs. So we've essentially got to start by accurately understanding how people understand our business and what we do. And the first and most human way to do that is to start by speaking with your customers. So it's not your words, but it's their words. So asking them, how would you describe what we do? And using those descriptions then to inform it, which might lead to new product insights. And as a whole, this way of thinking is what we'd call evidence-based business. So it's moving away from just assumptions and just gut feel and intuition towards using market data, insights, and information to guide and inform your decision making. And that is essentially what we call data-based marketing and evidence-based marketing. So when we talk about these systems that you need to integrate with, it seems like a bit of a fuzzy term. So I think that it's better to start not with the technologies and the systems that you need to use, because otherwise you can completely overwhelm yourself running from system to system and tool to tool. And believe me, as a nerd, I've been there. It's actually much more important that you start with what problem you're solving. So Jeff Bezos at Amazon says you've got to keep a firm focus on the big ideas of your business. So for them, it's going to be faster delivery. You know, you can't imagine a future where people are going to want slower delivery. For them, it's going to be cheaper prices. You can't imagine a future where people are going to want to pay more for something. They're always going to want to pay less, and obviously bigger variety. And those are the big ideas for Amazon, and they keep a relentless focus on those things. Every innovation starts with those fundamental truths, those problems that they're solving, and it's different for every business. I mean, Apple's almost the opposite. You know, it's not cheaper prices, it's more prices on more options, it's less options. So what those big ideas are, those firm ideas that you're optimizing for, are going to be unique to your business. So that's the first thing. Secondly, before you choose a tool, is you've got to look at, like, in your industry then, if you look at, you know, if you've decided that it's going to be around faster delivery, you've got to go, well, what are the enabling systems that are happening around here? So you might go, okay, well, in terms of faster delivery, it might be drop shipping, or access to warehouses rather than owned warehouses. It might be drone delivery. So these are these systems to involve with. So I don't need to start from scratch, because a system or a trend means that there's lots of other people already working from it. And so you keep a 3 to 5 year focus. So you don't go, I'm just going to buy one tool and suddenly I'm going to be there. You go, well, in terms of customer service, in the next 3 to 5 years, we can see that driverless delivery is going to be a big thing. So I'm going to start looking and investing in growing my capability in that trend or that system. And then once you've identified the system, you know, this big trend that you're moving towards, then you can start evaluating tech. So you can go, well, within this big trend, which is self-driving deliveries, I've spoken to a couple of the big players, and these are the technologies that they've recommended. And based on what I know, this is my price point, I'm willing to try this technology solution. And another piece of advice from Jeff Bezos is you've got to be willing to invent or pioneer on behalf of your customers. So once you identify what's important, for example, fast delivery, stop looking to what your competitors are doing, because if everyone's looking to the competitor to make the first move, the whole industry is stuck. You've got to remain focused on the problem. You've got to say, all right, cool, based on the problem that I'm solving and the systemic shifts that I've identified, what then is the best technology that I can be the first to use in my industry to solve this problem better than my competitors are doing? Thanks. Hope you enjoyed the insights. I wish you well to use them.